You can get it. Marvelous.
Yo, what's good? Welcome back to the channel, y'all. And look. First off, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I know it's a new year. You guys probably just woke up, look in the mirror, hoping that something changed, and nope, you still just another ugly motherfucker as last year. Okay, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed with your bitch ass, okay?
Nope. Change is good.
But what has changed is the deck list. In today's video, we're going to be showing you guys the 5 best board breaking, pretty much board removal decks in the game. If you like blowing up shit on the field, this is the video for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the honorable mentions, gang. Let's get it.
You remember that song, We Are the Champions? Well, this is the B-side. I call it Honorable Mention.
So like I said earlier, this video is really just going to tell you what are the best board breaking decks in the game currently. January 1st, 2025 is very weird saying that, but I know it's weird for y'all. Just get used to it. We'll get used to it by March. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get straight to our honorable mentions. So our honorable mention for the first deck has to be ʤauⱠⱠ ʤauⱠⱠ in the East has seen a huge rise during the tail end of OP09 in the East. Not only does it have some steady board removal with Absalon and with the Ice Ages, but it does have a lot of card ripping capabilities with this Perona. Okay, I see a lot of people actually opt out for another black card in this ＪauⱠⱠ that really just abuses ripping cards out of the hand with this Perona, this issue, and I think this other card is like hollowed something, right? I know I'm not tweaking out if I can fucking spell this motherfucker right. Hollowed, was it narrow? I don't know the name of the damn card. Give me 1 second.
What's your name?
My name?
It's this card right here, y'all. We finally went to it. It's called Negative Hollow. If you guys do want to have a shiesty build that focuses on really just hand ripping the opponent some delinquent duo, thank you for the subscribe. Don't know who subscribed, but thank you so much. Thank you for becoming a delinquent. First one in 2025. Someone give this man a round of applause. This is the very first subscriber we have gotten in 2025. Thank you so much. But this particular card is a shiesty ass tech I see the streets using for this particular deck. Fact, not an opinion. Trash one card from your opponent's hand, and then its trigger is activate on main. The biggest thing about this card is that it is a 2-drop, which means this will more likely just be sitting in your hand until you use it. But the thing about this particular card, that if you could chain this card with a Perona or maybe an issue, you could really just start spinning the block and fucking everybody, bitch, to the point where your opponent only has like 4 or 5 cards in their hand. So when you start attacking game with like the ＪauⱠⱠ, the issues on board, or even the Blackbeard, you're really just using this just because it locks down, shuts down the nail off rip, and then it's just a 12k blocker. You can't really beat it. You are also running the Rebecca here. 3 Kuzans. This is an honorable mention because when it comes to board ripping capabilities, this deck is kind of mid, to be honest with you. I mean, it does have some board removal just with this right here with the Ice Age, but it is a popular deck. It was showing a ton of play at the end of OP09, and that's why it's here for honorable mentions. The second honorable mention that we have right here is this Marco. Now, before we get to this Marco, I'm not really too sure if this is the proper deck for OP09. I just saw a couple topping lists in OP08, and I actually just added some cards just to my flavor. I actually don't know if these cards are even good in this deck, but since this is a board removal type of video, I want to show you guys more options than just playing black, because let's be real, a lot of people don't like playing black because they're tired of it. Black ran all of 2024, so if you guys do want to play some type of board removal, you do have some in this Marco with this Silver's Rally. Just being able to get rid of all the KO protection with this Ben Blackman. We are running 2. You guys could substitute this out for the Jozu, which bounces back. I think it's a 7 cost or lower. I think 7 or 6 cost. Let me know below. But in my personal opinion, I would rather just have this bin back than just being able to trash anything. It's very shice if you're not playing against black. Having this lucky rule on the field, just being able to pop anything once it's blocked and KO with a 6,000 less. Pretty much this KOs anything on the field that's not black. Having some board removal with this Edward Newgate and abusing this Otama. So a lot of times you do a -2 and then you just go straight into this. Another way for some crazy board removal. And we actually just look at everything else for board removal. We just have this gravity blade. You guys could play the red rock depending on what your build is. Like I said, this build is nowhere to be perfected. I don't even play this deck, but I've seen some of the builds out there, and a lot of people are just using these main 4 cards right here for this Ivankov combo. They're using them for pudding and Atomos as well. I mean, just all in all, to be honest with you, very shisty as board removal type of deck. If it's guys don't really want to play black but still want to have a deck that has some, you know, some real brazy board removal, this is definitely what you guys should be tapping into. Okay, so let's go ahead and get straight into our 5th best deck for our board removal video, gang. I'll be right back.
Number 5.
So our 5th best board removal type of deck in the game for 2025 has to be Perona. So Perona, in my personal opinion, is probably the best sleeper deck of all time. It did fall down, you know, the food chain a little bit with OP09, but I still think this is a real shicey ass deck. Let's go over it real quick. When we talk about board removal, main forms of board removal, we have this Ryuma. Ryuma is the Lucci of the deck. If you guys do want to play another version of a black deck that's just not mono black, this is your staple and glue when it comes to low end board removal. Ryuma, a lot of times you're really just going to bring it out the Gecko, Ryuma, and maybe into a one-legged soldier or something like that. Thank you for the subscribe. We're actually going crazy right now with the subscribes. Thank you so much. Just keep on going. But a lot of times you're gonna do the Gecko to the Ryuma or Gecko into this Hiyori. Just bringing out this Hiyori. Go ahead and read real quick. If you guys never seen this card before, you may place this card into your trash. Place up to 1 5 or less land of 1/0 type characters from your hand to play, so it allows you to cheat out another character. So a lot of times you can go into the Gecko, into the Hiyori, or Gecko into Ryuma. I'm not really sure of the lines. If you are a Perona player, let us know what the lines are, but this is your main form of board removal. You have some cost reduction right here. You have the Borsalino. You have some more cost reduction in this T-Shrew. 4 Ice Sages. Look, if you're playing black, you always should be running Ice Sage. I don't care if it's a mono color or just a dual color. Ice Sage is always a staple. The Sabo, you also have some board removal with this Shanks as well, and also with this Kaido. So I would really opt out to go for this Kaido since Blackbeard is so dominant in the meta compared to the Shanks. Since this is an on play, so this looks like the proper list. And you guys are wondering where I got this list from. This list is a championship winning list from the East in OP09. We don't really have any reports from OP09 when it comes to tournaments since we haven't really had a tournament yet. So this is a flagship winning tournament. But besides that, we have quite a few ways to blow up the board. Just being able to rest 2 of your characters for an easy 2 draws. And yeah, if you guys want to play a board removal deck that's just not mono black, and a deck that a lot of people just don't even know how to play against, to have that surprise factor as well, Perona, I'm putting this at the 5th best board removal type of deck in the One Piece card game as the time is speaking right now. Let's go ahead and get straight into our 4th best deck of the format when it comes to board breaking capabilities.
Number 4.
And that 4th best deck has to be Enel. So I know a lot of you guys are saying, what, Enel, a yellow deck? Yeah, bro, look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Look, the streets, if you YGOD, first off, it's YGOD, yellow ganga die, YGOD. Shout out to all my delinquents. Yo, I'm telling you right now, this year might be yellow's year. I feel like this whole year is going to be dominated. Y'all saw the brand new Enel that is getting ready to come out in EBO2 in the East. I told you guys in our last market watch that every single one of these yellow cards you need to be picking up. And then as soon as I said that, all of a sudden, all the yellow support starts coming in, and now it starts becoming an $80 card. Every single yellow card you see on the field right now, not the field, the screen, your screen right now, is now expensive and going through the roof. You should have listened, you should have tapped in. But let's go over why this is the 4th best board breaking deck in the One Piece card game. First off, you have Katakuri. Okay, so when we talk about board breaking, we're not talking about, you know, just KOing. We're talking about anything that removes things from the field. So whether it be trashing, whether it be adding back to the hand, adding back to life, anything that just gets shit off the board. This is one of the best board removal type of cards, is being able to remove any 8-drop or lower. Handling a lot of problematic cards, very shice. You have some more steady board removal with the Yamato. Yamato has been a staple in yellow decks, and moving forward, I can still see Yamato still being a staple 9-drop, the premier 9-drop in the deck. We still have more board removal than Ďaŭ. If you're going first when it comes to your 3rd turn, you're always going to be KOing something with 4 drops or less. Very shicey. We have the Onami at a trigger, and it also gives you a banish as well. So a lot of times you really want this out of your life, so you can bring this back with the Hiyori. I'm doing the 2-3 Hiyori split. A lot of people don't do this split. A lot of people just cut a Hiyori. I think y'all are drunk out of your goddamn mind. The fact that you guys have all these triggers in your deck, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 8 triggers. That's around 20 cards that you could cycle back with the Hiyori. And that's why I like also going for the 3-2 split, because late game Flampy is kind of a bust. It just sits in your hand. Compared to Hiyori late game, you could put the Monkey D. Luffy back. You could put all these other cards back. That's the reason why I always go with the Hiyori. You're playing 4 Frankie. Comes the board removal, we have the Monkey D. Luffy getting ready of a 4. This right here gets rid of a 5. This gets rid of an 8 or lower. This can really, you know, depending on what your life is, up to a 1 or possibly 7 if you are going up to a Vegapunk. This removes anything on the board, and this is probably, might quite possibly be the most broken event in the game for all of yellow cards compared to like Capone. All right, so if you guys are wondering what is the 4th best board breaking deck in the game, I honestly, personally speaking, since I played so many hours of Enel, learning how to really play the game on Enel, I feel like Enel has tons and tons of board breaking capabilities if you do know how to pilot it right. Before we end this Enel showing, a lot of people are going to be asking, what is this card? This card right here is a card specifically to beat Blackbeard. Blackbeard is your hardest matchup in OP09 because we do not have X Drake yet. X Drake makes that Blackbeard matchup a little bit easier, but from, you know, where we're at right now, and we're not in OP10, this is the only way to really answer Blackbeard, mainly the Burgess. If you guys didn't see, rest up to one of your opponent's 4 or less characters. That's all you need to know. You rest this attack at the Burgess, pretty much a softer version of the X Drake. Okay, this also always activates at, you know, while you're attacking with the 7,000 attack power. So actually really not bad. And a lot of times when it comes to your 6 Dawn turn, if you are going second, you aren't really laying nothing on the field like that anyways. So this is a very shiesty ass card to get rid of, you know, those Blackbeard players. So 4th best deck has to be Enel. All right, so let's go ahead and get straight into our 3rd best board breaking deck.
Number 3.
So our 3rd best board breaking deck for 2025 has to be BY Luffy. So look, when it comes to these next couple of decks, I'm not going to really spend too much time on them. I'm just going to show you guys why this deck, mainly this deck. This is not my regular build. This is just a build I just made right now just to show you guys, you know, what BY is capable of and not being a pussy and running around a whole bunch of blockers. For some reason, I'm seeing everybody play the Namis and all this other bullshit. And when I talk to people at the East, okay, when I talk to people from the East playing BY Luffy, they're calling all the West players pussies playing like that. I mean, you guys are blockering up like you guys are playing Fortress Yamato. That's not my words. This is what a lot of people from the East, they're like, bro, it's like BY Luffy lost its identity. So if you guys don't want to play that pussy build with, you know, blockers sitting on 7K, this is a very hyper aggressive version of the deck that really just nukes the board. You have the Kuzan to bring down any 8-drop to allow you to pop with this Monkey D. Luffy, and also this one-legged soldier. I'm starting to tech this in a little bit more even into my main deck, just being able to have that 2K counter on top of just summoning this activate main, so you can actually activate this underneath Blackbeard. Just giving any character with a -3 cost allows you to pretty much remove anything with a 7 cost or lower. Really shy, in my personal opinion. In my personal build, I'm running one. I took out one Makino and I put in one. I'll show you guys my list after we talk about this. We have this Kaido just being able to trash anything with a KO blanket immune effect. So this card is really just for the Blackbeard matchup. Blackbeard is really your hardest matchup for this particular deck. I feel like everything else is pretty much free. If you're a really shiesty based ass player, tough ass player, fuck yo bitch type of player, you can really just, you know, steamroll everybody if you really do know what the hell you're talking about and really playing the deck. This right here counters the Blackbeard deck. You get rid of the Burgess, the only thing they have is the 10-drop Blackbeard, and then you just handle that with the Regu. We're going with the 2 brothers bond. When you end up running 4 late game, you're gonna end up bricking. That's the last thing you want to see. And we also ended up with the Ice Age. You pair this Ice Age up with a Monkey D. Luffy, you are removing anything with a 9-drop or lower from the field. So this is the 3rd best board removal deck in the game. If you guys want to see my personal build, this is my personal build. If you guys do want to see it, I know a lot of people always ask me what's my personal build. This is my personal build right here. The only thing that's changed from the last build is that we took out those Kaidos. We have the Makino, we have the one-legged soldier. I always like running 10 2Ks. I feel like that's always a staple. Always run 10 2Ks. So I got 1 2 6 10, and then we also have the 2 Ice Age. Ice Age is just so flexible, just being able to, you know, do a whole 6 spin turn and then drop this Ice Age gives you 3 down left while having be at 9K and popping anything with a 9-drop on the field is actually crazy. I mean, if you look, if you guys haven't seen my videos, tap in, and we also are still running the Kingdom Come. This is pretty much my personal list. If you guys do want the Nuke version, this is the Nuke version right here, or not necessarily the Nuke version. This is the 3rd best deck of the format when it comes to board removal, in my personal opinion. And yeah, let's go ahead and get straight to the 2nd best board removal deck in the game, gang.
Number 2.
So the 2nd best board removal deck has to be Smoker. So I'm gonna tell you something about Smoker. A lot of people are like sleeping on this leader. I'm gonna tell you right now, once you get the OP09, if you guys didn't know what the number 1 deck was, it's Lucci. You guys already know which one it is. We don't even need to talk about it. Lucci's number 1 right now, but once we get to OP10, this will now be the premier mono black player deck for board removal, just because of this card right here. This card alone is going to carry you to some victories against Blackbeard. In OP10, Blackbeard gets a huge boost with all its support. With that being said, Smoker just gets even better. This is a championship list. I'm not sure if this is a you know, the most, you know, ideal list to really run. I don't really play Smoker, but this is a very good board removal type of deck. I feel like this is the 2nd best board removal type of deck in the game. We got the 4 Brooks, always a staple in a mono black deck. You have the Tashigi right here, and you also have the Sakazuki with the Ice Ages as well. So the biggest thing about this deck is that if you guys do not find your Ice Ages and Kuzan, and like I said, I grabbed this off the internet, off of One Piece top decks. I'm not sure if this is the right one, but I honestly feel like you know, this should probably be at 4 and maybe a 3-3 split with the Kuzan and the Tashigi. It's all, look, it's all based off of ratios at that point, but the biggest gist about this deck is really just getting these 2 out, the Ice Age and the Tashiro, and really just start spamming this Tashigi since it is an activate main. So very shicey, my personal opinion. And the main reason why it's so good is because it's an activate main, and that's the biggest thing playing against Blackbeard, turning off all your on plays. Your Rebecca Gecko combo is going to be turned off, but as long as you have this Tashigi with some activate mains, you will be always in a good position, fact, not an opinion. So if you guys do want to play the 2nd best board removal type of deck, I personally think this is the 2nd best board removal type of deck. And then once it gets into OP10 with Blackbeard support, I feel like this will be the premier black deck moving forward, and it's shown that in my latest tier list that the Japanese players made after a month in of their OP10 meta developing at this point. So 2nd best board breaking deck in the game. Let's go ahead and get straight over to the number 1 deck of the format for board breaking.
Number 1.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Now this shit right here is
So our number one board removal type of deck has to be Lucci. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all. If y'all didn't see this coming, I don't know what to tell you. Just being able to play the Jack, the Kaido, the Lucci, even with the Kakus. This deck, all in all, is just shiesty. You guys already know what this deck does. I'm not even really going to explain it to you. The only reason why it's still somewhat playable is because people do not know how to play Blackbeard for their life in the West. And I'm starting to think about, like, when it comes to skill level, we are way behind the East when it comes to skill level, because it's shown with the Blackbeard players. Where are the Blackbeard players at? It looks like they all jumped off a boat and started swimming down to the ocean instead of treading water to get some air. And as long as Blackbeard's not in the meta, this will be a very devastating deck. Just being able to always do that 20 plus Don combo with the Rebecca, Gecko, and Spandine combo, very shice. Abusing the Jack, anything with a on play or even an activate main. Just pretty much, if you aren't playing Blackbeard, I feel like Rob Lucci is still a top 3 deck. I've been telling everybody for a while that this particular deck was ahead of its time. I feel like Rob Lucci should have probably been introduced in the game probably in like OP12, in my personal opinion, OP11. The fact that it came out in OP07 just shows you how strong and how far ahead this deck is. A lot of people were talking about Gecko Moria, but OP10, the #1 black deck outside of Blackbeard that's, you know, pretty much winning is Blue Black Usopp, and they actually completely cut Gecko Moria for Rebecca in their particular deck. So it just shows you that I feel like this particular deck was just ahead of its time, and with the sets continuing to come out, this deck is starting to get evened out. I still honestly think it is the best black deck at the moment in OP09 for our format, but as soon as we get to OP010 or OP10, I feel like this now takes a back seat, and Smoker just gets better, just because Blackbeard no longer is a hard deck to use because of all the support. It's very free with the Kuzan. So if you guys do want to use the best board breaking deck in the game, the things that just nuke the board, and you don't care what color you are using, Rob Lucci is the best board breaking deck in the game until OP10. So, you know, hey, and yeah, y'all, that's all I got. Look, before I go, I need to tell you guys this. It's a new year. Don't be on no bullshit, gang. Everybody need to get healthy, lose some weight. I'm just playing. I'm not your fucking life coach. Nigga, we in here trying to talk about One Piece. Look, we ain't trying to hear about none of that shit, okay? I'm not your parent. Then what I really want to know from y'all motherfuckers is that which play style deck do you guys want to see next? Do you want to see a ramping, the top 5 ramp decks? Or do you want to see the best aggro decks, the most hyper aggressive decks? Or do you want to see the best control decks? Or do you want to see the most, you know, the best defensive decks? Let me know below what play style you guys want to see, you know, after this video, because I feel like this is a very good type of series that we got going on. No one's ever done it, and we might as well start off 2025 with a bang. And that's exactly what this video just provided, board breaking everything on the opponent's side of the field. Fact, not an opinion. Look, that's all I got. But before I go, if you was feeling the vibes, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It all go.